But I hope as you hear this that we're really challenged, because this I believe is kind of in the trenches of where we are in our politically correct society. And we're going to talk about tolerance today, and we're going to talk about the new tolerance, and we're going to talk about how the world wants to subtly shut us up. They want, the world wants us Christians, we Christ followers, to be very quiet and silent and just kind of mind our own business. And so that's kind of the direction. But we're going to talk about what it is about salt and light and about being unequally yoked today. But I think probably the big thing we're going to really hit today, that a theme I want you to walk away with as the Lord brings the message back to you during the course of the week, is there's two sides of love. Okay? There's two sides of love. And this is where I think sometimes people get confused about what it is to be a Christian. Because certainly we know about the love, the compassion, the gentleness, the humility, and just that's where, again, we should be. There's no question. But we're going to see today that there is a side of love that's righteous. We're going to see that there is a side of love that's about accountability. We're going to see a side of love that is actually incredibly intolerant. And we're going to see a side of love that intolerance to sin is amazing love. Because if we sit back and allow and embrace this politically correct, crazy stuff that the world's moving towards and the world system and how it thinks, if we embrace not only the person but the behavior, man, we're just participating in the destruction of people's lives. Okay? And so we need to be people that, and again, in this essential series, we need to know what we believe, why we believe it, and stand firm. And as I said last hour, there's a lot of churches that do the love thing real well, and it's all about the warm, fuzzy thing, and the experience of, we're just all love, 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 love. But there are some churches that it's all about, the judgment and legalism and rules and extra biblical standards, and you walk into a church sometimes like that, and it's, you're just getting hammered. But here's biblical Christianity. There's the element of both. Okay, there's this love side, this unconditional love side, but there's this love/righteousness accountability side. And Jesus, obviously, being our example in living that out. And let me share with you that the world is okay with this warm, fuzzy stuff. It's when we as Christians know what we believe and why we believe it, and we actually have integrity, and we actually are bold in our faith, and we follow the leadership of the Holy Spirit. This is where there can be some fireworks and some sparks and some conflict. And we have to be prepared for that. Because when we're truly following Christ, there's times when we have to walk a path that may not be very comfortable. Around the world today, there is an amazing persecuted church. In America, in all of its problems, we are amazingly blessed. It's a portrait to the grace of God and his loving kindness and long-suffering with our nation and its many national sins, that we sit here today blessed in freedom. It's a picture of God's grace and mercy to allow us to continue going forward when we as a nation have sinned so greatly. But there's other nations around the world where even this, I get emails all the time from Voice of the Martyrs and the persecuted church and so on. Even this week, an extremist went into a Christian's home, just walked in, pulled out a gun, shot the pastor in the stomach 4 times. And they took him to the hospital, and the doctor wasn't there till the next day. Now, miraculously, this pastor survived the attack. And the doctor didn't come until the next morning. But that's just one example of, literally millions of Christians that are being persecuted around the world for their faith. Now, today we're going to be talking about this new tolerance. And this new tolerance is really a mechanism to get we Christians to be silent.